Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you guys at. It's your boy again, Goku Tyro from Comlag CA9 Tiger House. Thank you for joining the show, Naija Commandos for life. It's been a pleasure hosting. I think we're on our 13th or 13th episode, I think. 14th, actually. This is the 14th, so we're really racking strong and having a lot of people coming on over the last month to 2 months that we've had a lot of people. So thank you for everybody to come and be comfortable here to share their story and as we learn from our people from different sets. In this episode we have individuals from the 90s, so we're going to learn a lot from them and understand how command has shaped them from girls to ladies and boys to men. So I'll pass it over to my co-host Ifedak Walora. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know yesterday is here from a different time zone. Thank you for joining us. The premise of this show is actually to share your command experiences, how it's molded you to who you are today. Moreover, I want to use this as an opportunity to network. Understand? So if there's anything you do that you want to promote on this medium, just feel free. And we want to use as a connection. Not just the command secondary school Ipaja, but all of the military schools in Nigeria. My name is Ifedak Walora, C88 Comrade, Flying Those House. So I would like to introduce our guest. We have Yetunde Falade, known as Yetunde OC 96 set, Scorpion House. We have Bisola Miriam Akanji, probably not like that in command, but she's now Miriam Lile Sonny, 96 set, Flying Us House. They have the main man, Gordon Ujialele, Flying Us House, 94 set. Welcome, guys. We're really glad to have you on board. So this is how it's going to work.
Thank you.
We're just going to take turns. Just follow the lead. We go one after the other to let you guys introduce yourselves. So let's start with the ladies. Yetunde Falade, do you mind?
Okay, thank you. My name is Yetunde Falade, as has been introduced, but I was Yetunde OC. I was in Scorpion House. Incidentally, I didn't join from JS1. I started out in another command Kaduna to be precise. When we got back in term, I think it was the third term from command Kaduna, my mom literally cried because I was looking like a scarecrow. She said, "You're not going back there."
What class?
I was in JS2. Last term of JS2, my brother and I. She said, "You're not going back there." So she took the decision with my dad to enroll us in Command Ipaja. And to be honest, when I got to Command Ipaja, I thought this is child's play compared to Command Kaduna that I'm coming from. So yes,
wow.
That's
We've had one of my classmates, Kenneth Phillip. He did his first 2 years, and before he transferred to Ipaja, and he said Command Ipaja was more relaxed compared to some other stories.
Yes.
Wow.
I was very excited to join Command Ipaja, maybe because I had endured more hardship from Command Kaduna.
Right.
So this was like a relief, a breath of fresh air, until of course I got accustomed to the system and discovered that not everything that glitters is gold. There's still some there's still some tough life here at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yes. That's my intro.
Okay, good. We're back to you. Miriam, my sister from New York.
Hi, I'm Mariam Ilesami, known in Command Ipaja as Abisola Akanji, or Bisola Akanji as most people call me. I had a sister called Shola Akanji, so I think from 95 sets, so some may remember me from that. I was in Flying Us House, Command, I guess that's the intro. I started from GS1 through SS, through the SS, SS3. I was health prefect in my SS3, so some may know me from that. And I was a good girl in command. Enjoyed a lot of hardship.
We'll get back to that, all right? We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Hey, Godwin, go for it.
Thank you. Well, as already mentioned, my name is Godwin. Godwin Ujalele. It's actually pronounced Ujalele. That's the actual pronunciation. But it was when I came to command that I got a new pronunciation for my name, and it's kind of stuck ever since. But it's actually pronounced Ujalele. Well, you can see I'm wearing my Flying Horse South shirts, right?
Oh, really? That's right.
So, yes, all the way, yes. I still wear pride, yeah. I was 90. I was 94 sets. For the two ladies from 96 sets, can you guys remember any guy that had dreadlocks? Did you meet any guy that had dreadlocks when you entered in JS1?
No, because I didn't start from JS1.
You didn't start from JS1. Okay. What about Miriam? Can you remember someone who had dreadlocks when you entered JS1?
I don't remember. I do remember your name. Your name rings a bell. But
I remember your name as well.
My younger sister was a junior at the time, Diana, I think. So I'm sure you might remember that. And then I think my elder sister you probably would have met my elder sister. I think so. Yeah. So maybe that's So I probably would have, because you were in Flying Horse House with her too. So I think so. You probably know her. So I had dreadlocks when I was in jail. When I came in, well, that time we this would be Form 1, I think, because we made the last set of Form 5 when we came in Form 1.
No, you were JS1.
I probably think
you were still JS1.
Oh, is that we were?
You were still JS1.
Okay, yeah,
we were Form 5. We were the last set of Form 5. You met the last set of
Form 5. Okay, all right, okay. So maybe I'm mixing it up. Okay, but I know we made the last set of Form 5. Yeah, so. So usually when people can't recall, I usually use that to make them remember who I was. And because for me, I didn't have a problem when I was in primary school, because I went to some school where I saw people who had dreads like me. When I came to command, oh my God, I was like, I think for the first time I started having a problem with how I looked. I think that was the first time because how it was difficult to be a bad boy, because if you do anything bad, you don't know anybody to know your name. So you just describe that guy.
Yes, yeah.
I probably was, and I didn't like that sudden publicity or instant fame. Something. It's not like it was something that I didn't become famous as a result of what I did or did not do, but as a result of something that
because of your looks.
Yeah, it was. If you've ever done chemistry, hydrogen is an element that has just one atom. You can't place it here, you can't place it there. Anywhere you put hydrogen,
dude. No, don't go there.
I didn't like that at all. Although I eventually caught it when I was in SS2.
For folks like us, they don't know chemistry.
I hated chemistry. Don't start with.
No, maybe after this show, I'll make you love it.
No, but I just want to say something. I just want to say something. When he introduced himself to me about maybe a couple of weeks ago, right? True, because of the North American stuff, he started asking me, "Oh, what set was that?" So I said 89. He goes, "Oh, I was in Ferrari and from 5." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Then he goes, "Oh, do you remember?" He now mentioned some people in my set in his house. So I said, "Yeah, I know that." So you should remember me now. I had dreadlocks. I'm like, in my mind, why would I remember it for one boy? Especially in a bigger house. I don't remember how the for one boys even in Tiger House. When I was for 5, I said my school songs and stuff. I don't remember that. Yes, I'm sure the guys in your house might remember you. Yeah, but in Tiger House, I don't remember. Yes, and you didn't cry. I don't think you crossed my path. So I don't remember that.
And also because when I tell people that the first thing they were expecting to see the grade, well, like, how do you expect me to see carry that thing on my head after how many years, for crying out loud? But it was just an identity I had that probably people could easily remember. People could easily recognize me, and so.
Okay, we'll get back to how your identity got you in trouble. Okay. Or maybe saved your life. We'll get back to that. All right, so we go forward with the protocol. Yetumi, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
So share with us, how do you see command? How did they? What was your experiences? How did they? What has it affected you today?
She can start from if I was just going to say she can start how well the first you can start from Kaduna, yes, and do a comparison and how the first day you dropped you at the gates there and also in command.
Okay.
And so yeah.
Okay, so I think in my intro I already did a bit of comparison to say that in terms of what's that word I will use now? In terms of ruggedness, wickedness, command Kaduna, gapped command Ikpaja, right?
Wow.
That's not to say that I didn't suffer in command Ikpaja. I'm not trying to remove that at all. I still endured what a typical junior would endure because I joined in JS3 anyway, so I still had like 4 years or thereabout to go. So in terms of experience, I know that anytime we're returning back to school, and I think Bisola can attest to this, there's that wooden bridge that is no longer there anyway. That bridge is no longer there. The minute you cross that bridge or you're approaching that bridge, your heart rate goes. If they take your BP at that time, you know that it's off the roof because it will be beating through your chest. And then by the time you get to that gate, you know that it's over. Any hope of
turning back, you're turning back again.
It's out the window. So I always used to not look forward to going back. But once you're in the gate, you just accept your fate anyway. You're like, oh well, another term I have to deal with. How did it shape me, or how has it shaped me? I think in terms of discipline, for one, and I know we can all agree on that point. Discipline, as young kids, our parents, you know, I used to say that, oh, our parents hated us to just dump us in one boarding house and leave us there and pick us up at the end of the term, not minding that we've gone through hell, you know, but I think we all turned out better for it. I always compare myself to my sister, and I know she won't like this. She went to a day school. My brother and I were more tough. Our outlook to certain things are tougher than the way she would react to it. And we say, you didn't come to command. If you had come to command,
what day school did she go to?
Went to Navy.
Which one is Satellite Town?
The one in Navy Town.
Oh, Navy Town. Okay, they did have boarding on there. Yeah, I remember.
Okay, good. Because she needs to come on our show, okay?
Okay, I'll see.
This show is for people who went to any military school, military school, any of that. Okay. Yeah, because we've had two from NMS. We have a few NMS people coming back also to the show. So regardless of if you went to like a Jacondo or federal government, we can't.
Yeah, we disqualify you.
We'll disqualify you. Any other military school you can come.
It will be 17 by the number of I know.
Yes, in terms of discipline, I think it really shaped, and then independence. I became very independent when I started going to command. My mom was always very proud, really, because she knew that when we come back during the holidays, she could count on us to do things without somebody pushing or prodding. So that independence and that discipline, you can't take it away from anybody who went to command.
Okay, good. So let me ask you, would you send your child to command?
Now or by as command?
In the 90s and now, would you send your child to command?
In the 90s, yes, but not now. And I'll tell you why, because I've been to command recently. I went to command in 2017 and I went in 2018, I think. We were doing something with the school. And I had the privilege of sitting with one of the senior officers then. And, you know, the stories he told us about how things have changed, you know, the level of discipline that we enjoyed and experienced is no longer there. Kids whip out their phone. If a senior is punishing them, they take their phone and they record and send it to their parents instantly.
Wow.
Oh, yes,
Social media.
To set this.
Wow.
Wait, the kids in the school have phone. I didn't even think that matter.
I didn't know that as well, but apparently they can record and send it to their parents, and they teachers as well that their guardians are also looking out for them. So he really lamented that what we enjoyed in terms of discipline and being forthright as a command secondary school legal student is no longer what it used to be. So back then,
Wow.
yes, I think especially because I have a 10-year-old who needs a lot of tough love, I would have sent her, but not today, no. No.
Wow. So we're going to get back to you about some other things.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you did some bad things in command, but we'll get back to that. Miriam,
Yes.
you got the floor.
Okay, so I think command experience for me, my first few years, I would say my first 3 years in command, I hated it. It was the first time that I had experienced any type of hardship as most people, and I don't know. It was horrible. Every time we went on break, I cried. I didn't want to go back to command. It was horrible to me. It was horrible for me. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was really crazy. Although you learn a lot of things along the way that helps you later on in life. Because before that, right, I barely knew how to do anything myself. So I think going to command taught me to be able to do a lot of things, right? To adapt, to be independent, to be, to realize the strength, the inner strength that I had within me that I had no idea that I could muster up. But yeah, it was really tough the first few years. The seniors, punishment and all that. Although eventually I became a senior, I probably did the same thing. But it was really tough. And then in GS3, I was very sick. I think right before our mock exam, I didn't even get to do my mock exam. I couldn't.
Wow.
They had to rush me home. And I was really sick. My parents were really scared because when they saw me, I was like bones. I was really skeletal, and I was admitted in the hospital for a while. After that, my mom finally listened to me. And she said, I know you've been saying that you didn't want to go back there, and now you know what? You don't have to go back. And I told my mom, I said, are you kidding me? I am not changing school. I said, I am not the first 3 years of the hardship, and now when I'm about to start easing into my senior year,
Right.
it's a new environment. I'm not. And my mom was really shocked because and when it was time to go, I was so excited, and she had never seen me like this, right? So from that onwards, I made some good friends with seniors. And I started to enjoy the experience in command and take it as part of those things, one of those things in life. So I enjoyed. I would say that the senior year, it was more fun. We make our own fun out of it, and the way that it's really shaped me, like Yetunde said, it's the discipline for one, right? You become a very disciplined person in your personal life, in your work, exercising, getting up early in the morning, being able to do anything that you set your mind to. I think that my first glimpse of that was from, ComLag. And so that's one thing I'm always grateful for. Other things that I think I learned in command is adaptability, right? Because it makes you be able to adapt to any environment that you find yourself, right? So I remember coming to the US for the first time, and people were like, oh, US is hard, it's tough, it's leveler, it's this. I said, look, I have been leveled to the playing field before, and
Command will level you. Command level everybody, man.
Exactly. So I don't know any experience that will come my way that I will not be able to figure it out or handle it. And if life is throwing me lemons, trust me. I've been to ComLag, I can make lemonades out of that. So that was very good experience, and it teaches you to be independent, and to be it teaches you strength. And I know you have 2 beautiful daughters.
So how do you feel about sending them to command? 3, yeah.
She's got 3.
I know you have 3. Yeah, you have 3. 3, yeah. So how do you feel like sending them to command?
I will not send my kids to command.
Oh, just like that?
Well, one of the reasons yesterday mentioned, right? Command of these days is not the command that we grew up knowing.
No, about the 90s. The time you were getting sick.
Huh?
The 90s. When you were getting sick. You said, okay, sir.
No. I will not send my kids there. And I'll tell you why. Right? The world itself has really changed, right?
Right.
The age that you send your kids to command, right? They get to learn a lot, how to do this, wash their clothes and take care of themselves and all that. I feel like the world is at a place where it's their formative years, and I want to be there to teach them the things that they need to know. I want to guide them. There's so many things that will happen in command to you, and you're like, I can't wait to tell my mom, but you don't see your mom until visiting day. Like, then how many things do you remember? Oh, I need to get some clarification from my mom. I can't understand this. I can't internalize it. I need to speak to my mom. But you don't get to speak to her until when you forget all those things. Somehow, if I'm not here to teach my kids the things they know as girls, as they're forming and growing into young ladies, they're going to go out there, they're going to be out there, they're going to learn it from somewhere else. And it may not be the lessons that I want them to, to learn.
That's fair.
So I will be able to teach them those things myself.
So I have a question for you. A quick question. Do you, especially for you guys that have kids, do you bring some of the command methodologies of discipline to teach your kids and put the structure in them? Because I do that with my daughters. And they know when the tone of my tone changes, and it starts with my friend, are you kidding there? They know now once daddy says my friend, because first time I said to my daughter, said, I am not your friend, I am your daughter. And I'm like, my friend. So they know once I just say my friend, they look at me, they go, okay, daddy's not joking now. So, so do you do stuff like that? Not that they do front joke or anything, but I'm very strict.
I do last girl for my daughter.
Oh, you do last girl? Okay, start running. Okay, I haven't done that one. Wow. I think I should do that. Oh no, last girl. I have better.
How many girls do you have?
2.
You have 2?
Yes.
2 girls?
And 1 boy. So you're the last child and the last child.
That's 2 girls. No, that's 2 girls.
Okay, you have 2 girls. So, okay, hold on. So when you 2 last girls, they start running.
Oh yes, now.
I should instill that part too. Last girl.
That's big.
But I like that. All right.
Before we go further, let's give Godwin the floor. We'll come back to you girls. There are other things we want to discuss. So, Mr. Godwin.
Yeah. I think for me, command wasn't until I experienced it for myself. Command wasn't a strange place because I already had an elder sister who was there. She's the same set with Moinedet, Friday Junior, so she was 92 set. So I think 1 or 2 times I came for visiting there with my parents to see her. So I already had an idea of what the school was like, So, but just that I did not have the experience. I didn't have the experience because she would come during midterm and tell us the things, go through how they get punished and all that. I wasn't looking forward to command, to be honest. One of my very close friends in primary school went to Nigerian military school in Zaria. So I wanted to go to Nigerian military school in Zaria. So you can imagine the mentality because my dad was in the army then. Alternatively, I also was looking forward to go to federal government college at Janiki. The third option was, I think, Nigerian Navy, the one you guys mentioned earlier. The one is in Navy Town, Ojo. So I think I took all 3 entrances. I think the one for Nigerian Navy, something went wrong on the day of my entrance. Maybe I think the forms that were sold in Nigerian Army headquarters, someone didn't make returns back, so they cancelled and voided all those forms. So So when you're allowed to write the exam, so that was one down out of three. I can't remember what happened in Nigerian military school now. To be honest, I did it because it's a long time. So I was only kind of had only the command option left. So and which was the only one that I eventually entered. And so the mindset that I had another sister, so everything will be good, Now I didn't remember that boys and girls stay separately. All those mentality. I didn't know all that because when we come to see her, we don't go, we don't go beyond the car. I mean, she'll come, then we'll go back. So my mind was that everybody was living together in the house, so I could see her. But only for me to realize that from day one, it wasn't like that. Boys were this way, girls were, and then the girls were even friends. So I couldn't even go to see her. And then the reality of punishment. But that first day, it wasn't. I remember it was January 13, 1989. The first thing that struck me first was the way everybody was looking at me on campus. I had never been looked upon like that, because of my looks. So I didn't, at first I was like, people would just be staring at me like, why is this guy's hair like this, things like that. And then before I knew it, all kinds of nicknames. And that was about the year Majek Fashek sang that.
Oh, okay, Send Down
the Rain. So no, I think the album came out 88 and we entered 89. And then before then, nobody had ever called me any other name except my name. So they were calling me Majek Fashek. I think that's why I couldn't shake that off, and I didn't, because the sweetest sound you want to hear is the sound of your name. So anything outside that, you want to. That was all nicknames, and they don't call it. They don't call me the name as if it's a compliment. It's more like a mockery. Like you say, oh guys, something's wrong with your hair. Go and take your wig. Then that was 1988 was the year Holland won the European nations with goalies. Right. Yeah. Goalie. Another name you're calling again was Bob Marley. You can imagine. and I knew Bob Marley's song. I could sing, so that became, I remember there was a particular senior who wanted to punish me. Then he said, "Okay, sing me a Bob Marley song, and I will not punish you." And his favorite song he wanted me to sing for me was that Redemption song. I know the lyric of that song had some implications, as it like something to be free from punishment. So and then when I now went to school, I remember that weekend, then the Monday of it, I was now in class, and then my classmates there was a particular classmate of mine who would mock me and say I should go and why am I keeping malice with comb? I mean, I think so. I became I became very distant. I learned how to be mocked. I was being laughed at, being mocked at, so almost that was why I used that description that I felt like hydrogen in unpredictable. Where no matter where you go, I couldn't run away from anybody. I started having, but those that were close to me, like those in my house. I had very good friends then. I had, and then I just moved within that close circle. I couldn't go from house to house. Any house you go to, the first thing they use to describe is your hair, or they just make all those, they call you all kinds of. There was this Cameroonian player too that was common. There's this something Makanaki, that period. So I couldn't shake. So I couldn't run away from all those, because like I said, they weren't telling me to compliment me. It was more like to mock me. But the good thing, this time I go towards the dining hall, those women, when they see me, they'll be singing for me, and they will give me extra food. So the hardware was good. No, not like hardware, it was not okay. Yeah. But and increasingly I realized that I couldn't be a bad boy in coach, because what would I do that people didn't even need to know my name. Nobody, except those in my class and those who really cared. Nobody really want to ask me my name. There was this guy too, the next player that was playing for Nigeria then, Samuel Okwaraji. I was called that name several times too. There was this man that used to teach maths. His name is Mr. Balogun. Mr. Balogun will see me, will never call me. He never asked me. He just shout from Okwaraji, and I hated that. And I know when Okwaraji died that August of that 89 too, the name became, I don't know. See, I had to first fight that. So I didn't. I know, of course. After a while, I had to get used to it. I mean, what would I do? The only thing that I could do to change it was to go home and have my hair cut. And increasingly, I will go home and always tell my dad. Now there was a reason why my hair wasn't cut. That's more like a personal reason. But by the time I got, can you imagine? I had it on until SS2 first time. There was second SS2 that I had. Yeah, I had it cut. Yeah.
Wow.
By the time I came back, I just realized that when I first came, I thought people would notice the difference. Nobody noticed me on that first day. I was like, good, this is what I like, to be hidden from all kinds of glare. And then at the point, people would look at me and start, I know this guy, like, what happened to your hair? So, and then gradually, I kind of, but I now realized that I didn't enjoy the fact that I was not like everyone else. It was like I missed the uniqueness that the hair gave me when I cut it. And the uniqueness was, one thing I learned was that there are times that life pushes you, because if you look at it, whatever supposed unnecessary fame I got, it wasn't because of what I did or didn't do, it was just because of how I looked. Now, there are times that some things will prepare you to the front, make you separate from others. You can't run away from it. Sometimes there are things you don't choose, it chooses you. I mean, and it made me understand that
Right.
life kind of can prepare you to a place where you don't, something will just push you out in the limelight. It's not everything in which you have to blend with the crowd. Sometimes you just have to stand aside. And it happens even here in the US. Even while I was, during the time when I was in school, there are times I will write certain things, even give it to someone to copy word for word. We'll submit. When the result will come out, I will get hired. I mean, the person was like, but we wrote exactly the same thing. Like, destinies are not the same. I got to learn that from time. Even that at that time, it didn't occur to me like that. But looking back, I realized that sometimes you don't have to follow the path of others. Some things will prepare you to be different, and you must always learn to. There are times where you have to learn, but for the most part, you have to retain your individual, your unique identity. So I learned that pretty good. But as overall, I wouldn't say I had it. I think I would say I did, because I wasn't the over sociable type. I was usually very quiet and reserved type. My sister had all the fame. I just had all the underground work. I felt my hair had given me the kind of unnecessary thing in fame I didn't need, so I didn't need to add to it. I was one of the few people, perhaps, in my set. I'm not saying my set were full of bad boys, but I'm just saying that not once was I ever called up to be flogged for anything, because I just felt I felt, because I knew at every point in time I would always be found out. So just be at the right place at the right time and just do the right thing.
No, so
So even when I caught the hair, I maintained that behavior.
okay, wait. I'm not saying you want to be a fickle. So,
No.
which part of that the command have to play with you being this academia?
Oh well, I think it's because of the fact that because of my hair in quotes and my dreads, so I quickly got noticed by Colonel Bidipe. He was our commandant then.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to always look, kind. So there was this interaction I had with him, one to one. So because I remember then they always, the commandants too, used to also put pressure on me to cut my hair. They wanted to know why I still had my hair on. So even up to Colonel Okut, I think I eventually cut the hair during Colonel Okut's final time with us. Yeah, I think a year before he left. So yeah. So, but for cut the story short, I think it was the interaction I had with Colonel Bidipe. So I kind of became close to him. I think he's late now. I think he passed away as a brigadier, I think. Yeah. So my interaction with him, he had a PhD in chemistry. I think he was a chemist himself.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a textbook and even a lab manual. I
remember that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So that interaction with him. So there was time I always used to something. There was this time that my mom and I came to do something in school. I think we come and pay school fees or something during the holidays. So when we were going back, there was this we saw him. I think he had this unique olive green 505 that time. There was an issue with his car. So we were driving and I noticed that's our commandant's car. I don't know, So we drove, so we reversed and saw that he had car issues that morning and he needed to be in school. So we kind of helped him go to they were saying somewhere in that Yanapaja area. We got him changed and we were going to drop him off in school. So I think eventually his car got fixed up, definitely. But during that interaction I had with him, he was not telling me that what would I like to do when I leave school. I was very like JS2 then, I think. I mean, how old was I? Probably 13, 14. I didn't know what to think of So he just said, "Do you like to study chemistry?" That was the first time I think I ever heard that word used as a personal level. So he was not telling me what it is to be a chemist and all of that, blah blah blah. It didn't. I thought that was where it ended. When I got into SS1, I had to take chemistry as a subject. We now started using this white Ababio textbook, and I'm glad I fell in love with the subject. I liked, and it became the favorite subject that I liked. So eventually, when I came here in the US, after, because I was a banker before I came to the US from Nigeria. When I came, I still worked in a bank for a while, and I decided to say, it's time to go back and I decided to go and pursue a career proper in chemistry, and I think I owe that to the discussion I had with him, and also to the teacher that taught us when I was in SS1 to SS3, Miss Esther Fiakwan. She, because that, so I think that was where the love for the academia came. So the seed for me to be a chemist, I would say it was because I crossed paths with him.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. We're back to Yetule. You still there?
Yes, I'm here.
So if you go back to command, I know you see you're a good girl, so it's okay. So you did nothing crazy in command, right?
Oh well, I was let me see. I'll try and describe myself, and I think Bisola will agree with me. I was seemingly quiet and good, seemingly.
So.
Which kind of grammar did that? Which kind of grammar did that? Seemingly, explain that. Like a tango. What is seemingly? Who does that grammar? Seemingly.
I think she's even giving herself those words. Seemingly.
Seemingly. Now like a tango.
Seemingly quiet. Hold on a minute.
Meaning that I was perceived as quiet. I was supposed to be quiet. But I used to do all the things. I used to break all the rules. I camped I was in Scorpion House, but I camped in Flynor's house with a close friend of mine. She's in New York there with Bisola. We were in a laundry room. We converted it into a mini apartment.
Right.
We used to cook all sorts, groundnut soup. We sneak in a lubo, make amala in that laundry room with our iron. We plug the iron, put a cake on it, make groundnut soup, go and buy groundnut and palm oil, make all the soup, not go for prep when we're supposed to be in prep, hide behind.
Hey, there. Man, go to your sofa. This one to make soup.
Girls used to do that. We girls used to do that. We used to cook all sorts.
Did you sneak into town?
Yes, I think I did once in SS3. Actually, come to think about
it. Yeah. You were seemingly quiet for real.
Seemingly quiet. To the grammar. Seemingly quiet.
Let me tell you one thing. I'm trying to switch to what's her name, Miriam, because Miriam looked like she did more damage in command than anybody else. Miriam, I'm trying to give yesterday a break. She was seemingly quiet. How about you? Were you? Miriam, I'm talking to you. Give us your story.
Well, I was not quiet, but I wasn't troublesome. I wasn't, I didn't get into a lot. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
You just broke all the
rules. I'm what you would call a hybrid, right? Just like
now just they talk grammar today. Now just they put words out there, man.
Just throw one chemistry language. Yes, so.
That's like no ball. That's no ball, that too. Okay, library. Okay, hybrid of what now? Hybrid of waiting.
No, I was really no in class. I was good. I was participating. So I'm one of those students that the teachers would say, "Look at Bisola, she's studies and she's good," and all of those. When I'm in class. But
okay.
Yeah. But then outside of the classrooms, I think all of the possible things that you could probably think.
Oh, so you were similarly good. Similarly good.
So behind the veil, example of bad example. That's what you say.
Oh, no, remember that she was similarly good. You was similarly quiet.
Yes, I was.
Okay, all right.
I did it. Yeah, the same things that yesterday talked about. We would cook. We cooked all sorts, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how we used to manage to get those through.
Honestly.
Or we used to hide them between our things and sneak things in. All the food stuff that we need, we'll sneak them in. We'll cook, cook stew, different types of stew. I even started cooking from like GS3 or so. I had a friend.
Wow.
And we used to sneak, like when everybody was asleep, we would sneak, we would go make rice. And we had a few seniors that would always look out for us at the time. So if we get caught, like one time we went to cook something and then we left it, we'll come back in a few minutes. And then when we came back, it was gone. And we found out that one of the prefects seized it and we're in trouble, blah, blah.
Right.
So, our senior friends are like, this, or, somebody seized our food. They're like, what? You're cooking at this age? You're already bringing in boiling ring and all that stuff because we was cooking. So they got it back, claimed that it was theirs because it was a mate of theirs. But yeah, we used to do all that. I used to, I don't know about it today, but I used to, go jump the fence and go out of school. With my friends, we would go.
You did that one a lot. I
did it quite a bit until
the good girl.
Yeah, my parents. I did it. Okay.
Hold on. Yeah. Wait, you got caught?
I did.
Who caught you?
My mom.
Your mom caught you?
My mom found.
How?
We would go out of school. We'll come back. Typically, we'll come back the same day. We might go to a friend's place or something. But this time around, some of my friends, they went and they were like, "Oh, guess what we went to see?" It was, my school mother at the time. She had left. She had finished. So they said they went to her place. They went for a few days. And they were like, "Oh," she's like, "I have to come and she has missed me." I was like, "Okay, when next you guys are going, tell me." So I went with them. We were supposed to come back the next day. We ended up staying days.
Wait. What happened to the parents of your school mother? The parents are not there.
Look, the parents were there, but they were so. I have never seen such laid back parents before.
There are now people that are in school that snuck out.
I guess maybe I don't know what she tells them, but I think they think that we are the same mates. We finished school, we are waiting to go to university, we haven't gone yet. And our parents are allowing us. I don't know what story she tells them, but she was an only girl. She had brothers, and our friends would occasionally come stay over. They had a huge house, so we would go there. She would even be collecting fodder from the dad, for entertaining her friends that are around and stuff like that. The parents were so laid back. So we were there for a while. So while I was there, I told my sister I was going to go out of school as usual. My sister was a very good girl, but she would always cover up for me. So I told her, I said, I would only be gone 2 days at most. So she was getting worried that I wasn't back. It's 3-4 days. And somehow my mom, she was like, "Oh, I had a dream," and decided to check out. I don't know. So she came to school. Asked my sister where I was. My sister was trying to cover up for me, "Oh, she's studying somewhere." Although she was so scared that she didn't know if something happened to me. She didn't to tell my mom because she knows how my mom would freak out. And her friend, she had a friend that when her friend was like, "Tell your mom the truth. Just tell your mom the truth." And my mom was asking what happened. What happened to your sister? And she was like, "Oh, I left for a while and I haven't been back in school and blah blah blah." So my mom was furious, got permission, took my sister out from school. Was like, "Do you remember?" So my sister said she remembered the name of my mother that I went to her place. So my mom was like, you know what? She remembered dropping me off there once. Because I was like, oh, my school mother, she lives not too far from us. And my mom dropped me off sometime during the holiday at her place. So my mom was like, I remember the place. I think I can locate it. So my mom came. When my mom came there, I was there. We were just, we were just having fun. No? I just heard my mom's voice downstairs crying. I was like, how did this woman? Anyway, I ended up, they were trying to lie that I wasn't there, and all that. But I couldn't take it because my mom was wailing, and I know how my mom is. So I was like, I can't take it. My heart is breaking. I can't watch her crying like this and going back home. What's she going to tell my dad? So I'm like, no, you're going to get into more trouble. We'll go and drop you in school tonight. And then you will just tell them where. I was like, no, I'm going to my mom. So I went to my mom, and my mom was so mad. You know the funny thing? She didn't even beat me. Because she didn't even know what to do. She was in so much shock because she thought of me as, a good girl. So she was so disappointed. I could see this disappointment in her. She sat me down. Usually my mom, any small thing, she would beat us. But for this one time, she sat me down and she talked some sense into me. So, I stayed the weekend because it was, I think, like a Thursday. And then I think Sunday she took me back to school. But that kind of set me straight, right?
So you never snuck out after that? You never snuck out after that?
For days, things like that.
So did you sneak out? Did you sneak out after that?
I did, but
I'll be talking to the
According to President Jonathan,
I said those things used to work. Our parents they were just trying their best. Nothing used to work. You still go back and do the same thing.
For me, I had a very strict father, right? And for me, if my dad said this, he was so strict. Trust me, I never snuck out of school. I don't think my younger brother, who was a year my junior, or even my sister, I don't think they snuck out of school. To be a surprise if my sister said she snuck out of school, but I never did because I was scared. I was really scared to get suspended. My dad said, "You're suspended. You can't come home." Where am I going to go? So and you hear my hair and the commandant now. Wow. We are friends, and even
okay.
Yeah, they were friends. They were same rank. So no.
Okay. Wow.
So Godwin, who you say had an impression on you in command, good or bad?
I think when I was in GS1, because I always like to use when I want to say from when I quickly correct myself because I go corrected me. My house captain then Femi Uni, I think Ogoke will know him. Yeah, he was like a perfect example, of a good boy. I think he was also like a deputy head boy. If I remember one time when Michael Taiwo was away, he deputized for Michael Taiwo. He was a good guy. I remember then in the morning, Femi Taiwo from family with me. Then when I was in GS1, he would pray with us in the morning. We would lead prayers. You probably will know Chairman Abi. You know Ife, but Ife, you will know Femi Uni now, I believe.
No, maybe I was a theater.
I but I'm saying that he was a junior. It was a year junior. That's what I'm saying. Because house captain.
The name is familiar though.
Yeah, okay. So I probably think he left and went to England. I think because I know his parents were in England at that time.
No, he actually used to come from England to school.
He used to come from England.
Yeah, he never lived in Nigeria. He used to come to England to school.
Yeah, you could tell the way he speaks. He was polished. He was, he was someone I looked at and I admired that his godly behavior. It was as if he didn't punish and flog, but you see that whenever Femi would punish people, he was something to achieve something positive. Not all those soldiers who will just flog you as if you're following them in another life. Yeah, when somebody will punish you, in fact, you will be disappointed that you made him punish you. You know that kind of thing where you are disappointed that it's like you are hurting this guy. You want to do your best. So I remember that in the morning you want to make your bed, not because you don't want family need to wait disappointed and then so to now say that your bed was the one that made him lose points because Mr. Jato used to come once in a while to check. So he made us do things like that. And I remember when I was leaving home, whenever my dad would drop us, I also felt the same thing. I felt that same kind of respect towards my dad. I didn't want to be involved in anything that would make my dad disappointed in me. So in family, I saw a connection to which I could make my dad proud through my behavior, and I noticed it was reflecting probably the way I was taking my schoolwork serious. I don't forget I had a sister who was also looking out for me. My sister would come and check my book. You know, I had people who were always checking around, and I look around. The AO was my dad's friend. But nearly almost all the officers or soldiers then knew my dad had crossed. And my dad was in Lagos Garrison Command, which was one of the garrisons that was overseeing Command Secondary School. So most of the things that will pass through that command we need, we usually pass through from his office because wasn't the quartermaster at that time. So anywhere I look, I had this like as if eyes were on me. I think every soldier there was CCTV to my dad. Anything I do or don't do, my dad will hear. So that thing kind of constrained me, which was good, really, which was good. I didn't feel see, I'm a kind of person who always wanted to please my dad and please him to the uttermost. I wanted my dad to be pleased with not just my schoolwork, but also my conduct. And look at the command's motto: discipline and knowledge. My dad was the kind of person who always point you to little things that you don't see, things like discipline and knowledge. My dad would say, you see, you have to be disciplined. You have to add that, because if you have knowledge and there's no discipline, you can't have one without the other.
No, you can't.
I mean, he has this philosophical way of asking you a question. Like Mr. Jato, for example, was our housemaster, taught me a lot of things. I remember there was one time when we need money, the house captain will write money, then you come and give you, but at the beginning of the term we'll give him money to keep. It was like our bank too. Then when you need money, you write. Then I remember this time we were preparing for inter-house sport or something. It was something we were doing on the field. So Jato came to look for me and came to give me my money. I think I applied for 15 naira or so. So what he did, he gave me 10 naira, and then instead of 5 naira, it was 1 naira notes. But that's about Macaulay 1 naira, but I think 5 of it. But instead of him giving me 15, he gave me 14. So he gave me the money. I just told him thanks that I put the money in my pocket. And I said, "Did you count it?" I said, "He said count." And I realized he gave me 14. He said, "Next time, always count." Say, like I think I mentioned that earlier, how I crossed
right.
And then the chemistry teacher, So, but there were others too who didn't make me enjoy. It is not a place where I'll begin to con it.
Please don't.
This particular senior who I don't know whether I offended him in another life. It got so bad that I had to. There was this time he punished me. It's like anytime I just enter, once me and his eye just lock, he's punished. What set was he? What it was the set after 1990.
1991. There was no 91.
Okay, that's sorry, 1991. Sorry, that's true. So we just if he's listening to this program, me and him will cross paths in Access Bank, so he will know himself. I won't want to say more than that. We cross paths in Access Bank, so I won't say more than that. But what I'm saying is not out of bitterness or hurt. Of course, we laughed over it, but I'm right. So I had to. It got so bad. I had to run. When I had to run, I ran barefooted, almost without. Like I ran my short. Maybe I didn't even rush with singlet. I ran like that all to AO's house. Who had to drive me? Who had to drive because Captain Zaire, my dad's close friend. So he had to drive me to his car to the hostel. What to do? And I said, I know, outside my points in front of me. And I pointed. See, he beat, he flogged. And the mistake I make is that when that happens, every senior becomes your enemy.
Exactly.
They're not allowed to snitch in Comrade. You can't snitch on a senior.
Yeah,
you can't.
I ran, you see, when I ran to A's, I didn't know what was going to happen afterward. You understand? I didn't know how it was going to take. Because about safety, so I didn't know what was going to happen. But the worst now happened. At that point, to even live in Flying Horse House became something else. I had my close buddy who was in Scorpion House, me Thompson. I'm sure if he's listening. I think I was now there until I think that set left. And I kind of found a way of returning. As even though I was wearing Flying Horse House shirts, I was technically living in Scorpion House.
You were fugitive.
I'm not saying for the most part, but you could see that I was something like that. You guys know they have to be serious.
So, before you go ahead, when you met him in Access Bank, how did that go? After years of not seeing him?
This was 2002. Of course, I don't know if there was this initial eye contact, avoiding eye contact. But somehow we didn't bring it up, but you could tell that the thing was between us. Just that we were looking for who was
tension.
But we just kind of we still walked along. We still got along.
You walked in the bank. You walked in Access Bank.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. So you guys were working together. You were colleagues.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Was he your boss? He was your boss on the job.
But I wasn't directly reporting to him anyway.
And I was in a maybe first job.
Oh no.
So moving forward, that was interesting, Godwin.
Yes.
Moving forward, Mariam.
Yep.
What would you say had an impression on you?
Who had an impression on me? That's a good question. I think that almost everyone that I came in contact with in Comlag had one impression or another on me, right? And it kind of shaped me. I don't know that there's a specific person that I would point to that had an impression on me to that extent. I mean, there were a lot of people that had, that left a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm not gonna
we know.
Yeah, for example, my first few years that was so miserable, it was specifically due to, just a handful of
seniors. Right.
But a handful of seniors, and specifically one that it was not expected, and I think that was what shocked me, because it was someone that was a family friend, right? We weren't.
Yeah, I heard that too.
That my mom handed me over to and said, she's like your little sister, take care of her, I'm handing you over to her. And she made my life a living hell. Like,
she told you to house girl or what?
I don't know if it's part of me. It was like, just be screaming at me and all that. And she used to just punish me for no reason. Oh, too fast, too slow. Anything I did. And one time, you know how they used to count for us when we were for everything. And I do that with my kids. I count for them sometimes. I'm like, before I count 5, have to clear your bed. I do that for them sometimes. They know once I start counting. Even my 4-year-old knows once I start counting. Before the count of 5, you must be done with that. But anyway, when we would take our bath, they would count for us to take our bath and everything. So she was counting that day. She was counting that day, and I think that she saw I was there. She just decided I'm gonna get this stuff. And I was wearing glasses right from school. I was wearing glasses from primary school. So secondary school, I was wearing glasses. And when you want to take your bath, of course, I'll take it off and have my bath. So she was counting so fast, and I even ran out of the bathroom just because I knew that if I was there when she's done counting, she would be more harder on me than others. She would flog me more.
Right.
I just ran away, and then I realized as I was running away that my glasses was right there by the window. And I told her, please, I need to get my. She was like, get out of here. She beat me, wet, everything. So I ran out. I ran away. That day was a visiting day. And so I went back there later. The glasses wasn't there. And somebody told me, oh, she took it. That once I told her the glasses was there, the lady took the glasses. I took it away. So I went to ask her. She said, what do you mean? Are you accusing me of stealing your glasses? Blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, if you don't get out of here, I'll punish you. I'm like, I don't see very that. And mentioned it to her dad. And her dad was also furious. So they went to call her. And, when she came, they were, telling her, this is unfair. She's somebody you're supposed to take as your sister and, all that. And you know how Naija Comlag is, you don't snitch on a senior. So already my mom,
yes.
Oh my goodness. The trouble that I'm going to be in, I was telling my mom, please just take me home today. That was assuring me, she can't do anything to you, don't worry.
No.
Take me as her sister and all that. And while we were resolving it amicably, my dad does not come to school for visiting day. That day, I heard my dad's voice in my back. I'm like, what is this man doing here? Yeah, right. He said, yeah, he was around the neighborhood with friends and they came. Hey! And then my dad was asking, what's going on? And, my mom was trying not to tell my dad what was going on. And my sister was like, this is what happened. I'm like, oh, my dad raised hell. People gathered. It became worse. My dad was ready to and dance. I was like, I'm going right there to your commandant. And she used to tell her friends that, my dad was a junior staff to her dad and blah, blah, blah. So that day, and that wasn't the case, but I would keep quiet. So that day, my dad was screaming at her dad, and it was really.
Was your dad in the military?
No, our parents were in the banking industry.
Okay, got you.
So, so everybody, after that, I felt I was in so much trouble. I ran from my dormitory for days. And when I finally went there, it turned out that, our friends turned it into a joke and we're laughing at her like, oh, I thought you said your dad was an obvious.
So the truth came out.
Yeah, the truth came out. And she really couldn't do anything to me after that. So I just used to avoid her.
Wow.
And so what class were you in? What class? How many years was she a senior?
I think she finished 93 sets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like 2 years ahead of you.
Right. Yes. But there were a lot of other people, teachers, the ones that believed in us, the ones that didn't, the ones, all sorts. But yeah, I think that everyone really helped in shaping the personality that I have today, one way or another.
Good or bad, yeah.
Bad, yes.
Can I quickly ask? Can I ask you a question? When I first saw you, I don't know if people have ever asked you, with your glasses and even with your face, you look like this my popular Nigerian singer Asha. Has anyone ever linked your?
Actually, it's true. You do look like Asha.
Yeah. Because I'm a very big fan of Asha. So when I first saw you, I've been looking at you, I'm like, this is my eyes are not seeing well. Actually, it's true. Almost like Asha.
Yeah. Do you know who Asha is?
You know who Asha is?
Listen, wait.
That's true. You do look like Asha.
Listen. She's similarly Asha.
Oh, Chama just drop another line. Okay. Even your glasses has. I have a picture of Asha that has similar kind of glasses.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of Asha. Huge fan of Asha.
Yeah, me too. I'm a fan of Asha. I buy her music and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the lighter mood. Yeah.
All right. Let's give Yetunde the floor.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so for me, I'll talk about two people. One was a teacher. I won't mention his name. He was very mean. And the other one was a student. This teacher used to flog people under their foot. I remember that. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like, how would you think of flogging somebody?
What subject did that teacher teach? What subject?
No, don't give it away.
Let me not give it away.
Okay. I don't think I remember that. Maybe the person. Do you know? Because was that the literature teacher?
No. Somebody has something similar during that time.
I don't remember that.
He would remove your socks and your shoes, and he would flog you under your foot. That thing, I can't describe the pain, but it was on another level. So that for me.
So you need therapy. You need therapy.
I still saw him when I went recently, and I was looking at him like, do you remember? And he was laughing. He said, that he can't do that again now. I was like, really? How did you see the light?
It's different. It's different in school now.
That now is different now. He can't do that. So yes, for me. I actually used to think he had some loose something up that was just not okay with him. Then for the student, she was a year ahead of me. I think I've told this story on the platform before. There was this evening, not really evening, afternoon towards evening. We were in the dining hall. I think we had just finished prep. And there was this boy that was posting me from her set. Right? So, he was my senior. So, well, if a senior calls you, you can't say no now. You can't say, because he's posting you will not answer. You have to answer anyway. So he called me, and I can't remember, I was just talking the usual thing that teenage boys say to teenage girls. And she was coming, right, walking on the corridor of the dining hall. And she looked at me, she gave me this look like, you even have the impetus to still stand and be listening to what this boy has to say. She didn't say a word, but that look on her face. And she went into the girls' hostel. The minute I saw that look, I interpreted the look, and I knew that I knew that this one has finished today. So I told him I had to go. That I just have to go. I have to go to the hostel. I was like, what is it? I said, I have to go. I have to go and get ready for something. Anyway, he allowed me to go. And as I was entering girls' hostel like this, she and her band of merry sisters, evil witches of the Wild West, had lined up. They said, you start crawling from the gate.
Say that again. Something Pepe. What was that?
Do you know now? What does that mean? The impetus of you.
Okay. Like the audacity. Okay. Now I'm just going to break my word. No.
She just leave her whole spirit. She was in spirit now.
Start crawling. I was like, oh my God, I'm finished. I'm doomed. I crawled from the gate to where they were, right in front of Flying House entrance. Crawled there. My knees were already bruised, peeling. Look at you. You too. They called you to toast you. You stood there. You were listening. Even when you saw me, you couldn't run. You couldn't pick race. You were there. Man, that's it now. You started competing with us. I
was waiting for you to say that. Exactly. I know that's what happens when senior girls that are a boy in their set and is now facing a junior. Competition.
Yes.
All the boys in your set have finished, Abby. You have to leave them and come on. Then the mistake I now made was I now answered. I was like, but it's not. He called me. I wasn't it in their faces. Honestly, I felt punishment. Wash, toilet.
Wow. Because they toast you.
So I have a question. Did the guy call you later and you started avoiding him?
Oh yes, of course. I never.
Don't worry, you're thinking that his mouth was not working. You know that was evil spirit.
But that one, the surveillance network will be more that time. So any attempt to have to even comply, it will multiply.
I used to tell somebody. I actually, as a young girl, I never hated anyone as much as I hated that girl. But of course, that's the past.
You need therapy for that one too.
I hope
you need therapy for that one too. They make you miss out on a good boy, like maybe could have been your husband or something.
Okay. Let's swap this up. You guys have been fun, man, for real.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you, the ladies and the gentlemen, the 90 set, 92, 96, and 94 for joining us today. It was a pleasure listening to your experience. You guys cracked this up. Once this has been released in a few weeks, please subscribe. Have you guys subscribed to the channel?
Yes, of course.
So subscribe, share to your mates, and ask your classmates to subscribe. Also, Taya Dikesini told me I should ask you folks if you've paid your dues to the national staff. So, as my commander, as my president of National Alumni, I have to say that. Like Hollister,
and the ones in the US, they have not paid their chapter dues.
Yeah, so they should pay, because she said, okay, I need you to use your platform to talk to people to pay dues and stuff. So so I have to listen to my Oga at the top. And she's 5 years my own senior, right? When we're for one, she'll be for 5 minutes. So I have to listen to my Oga at the top. But thank you very much for sharing experiences. We do appreciate it. And we hope to get more people from your set and other sets to come and share their experiences with us. It was very enlightening. And yesterday you need therapy. you need therapy.
Hey, Chief Godwin, thank you, man. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Are you on the North American chapter?
No, she's not. She's still.
Join us now. Why are you tripping? Join us now.
No, trust me. She's a work in progress.
But you're able to bring her on the show. How come you say
don't worry. We have our own connection. Don't leave her alone.
Okay.
Miriam, you do well. Thank you. Thank you for bringing Yesterday along. Yesterday you've been so much fun. We enjoyed you.
Thank you.
Like Goke said, you might want to book the appointment to see the therapist. All right. So you guys remember, share this, subscribe, share, like, spread the word. We have a lot of ground to cover. Tell your guys what we do. They will see this video. Share with your classmates. And tell them to call us, to get in touch with us, to get their slots. Right now we booked for the next 1 month, actually.
Wow.
In fact, we expected Uncle Iman RSM to be somewhere in November. They should be coming on the show.
Wow. Yeah, that would be interesting, especially Uncle Iman. He has been there since 77, so he will tell us, he will give us perspective.
We talk Iman, it's just him. We can't have anybody else on the show.
Yeah, now RSM too, just him. Yeah, so
because they have a lot to share. So thank you guys. So again, spread the word. Peace.
Yeah, peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.